Hi everyone, myself Dr. P. Ashok Babu. So in this video, working as professor and head of the department ECE. In this video, I am going to discuss about the Poynting's theorem. First, so here as electromagnetic wave propagates through space from their source to distinct receiving points, so there is a transfer of energy from one source to the all receivers. So here there exists a simple and direct relation between the rate of this energy transfer and the amplitudes of electric and magnetic field strengths of the electromagnetic wave. So this can be related by using the Maxwell equation. So here we know the Maxwell equation, del cross H equal to J plus D dot, or it is del cross H equal to, we know the J plus D dot, which is equal to J plus dou D by dou T, or so here we can express the equation as J plus, because D is equal to epsilon E, so it is epsilon into E dot. So here from this equation we can find out the current density J. The current density J is equal to, so it is del cross H minus epsilon E dot. So here it is, if it is multiplied the equation by electric field E, there will result a relation between the quantities which will have the dimensions of power per unit volume. That is, just I am multiplying the equation with J, electric field E. So it is E dot J is equal to, it is E dot del cross H minus epsilon into E into E dot. Epsilon into E into E dot. So here we know the identity. Now we know the identity. So here the identity del dot E cross H. Del dot E cross H equal to H into del cross E minus E into del cross H. So from this identity, you can find the, so here we need to have E dot del cross H. So from the identity, E dot del cross H is equal to, it is E dot del cross H, which is equal to, it is del dot E cross H minus H into del cross E. H into del cross E. So, but we know that according to the Maxwell equation, so here we are substituting the del dot E cross H in the above equation. So here we have E dot J is equal to E dot del cross H minus epsilon into E into E dot, in place of E into del cross H, E into del cross H. So here I am substituting del dot E cross H minus H dot del cross E. So H dot del cross E minus del dot E cross H minus epsilon into E dot. So here we know the Maxwell second equation. The Maxwell second equation is, it is del cross E, which is equal to minus B dot, or which is equal to minus mu into H dot. Minus mu into H dot. So here if you substitute the del cross E is equal to minus mu into H dot in the equation, therefore E dot J is equal to minus mu into H into H dot minus del dot E cross H minus epsilon into E dot. But we know that H into H dot equal to half into dou by dou D of H square, and E into E dot equal to half into dou by dou D of E square. So just I am repeating, H into H dot equal to half into dou by dou D of H square, and E into E dot equal to half into dou by dou D of E square. So here if you substitute these two in the above equation, therefore we can have E dot J is equal to minus half into dou by dou T of H square, or minus mu is there, minus mu into, or minus mu by 2 into dou by dou T of H square minus del dot E cross H minus, so in place of epsilon into E dot, it is minus epsilon by 2 into dou by dou T of E square. So the equation becomes like this. E dot J is equal to minus mu by 2 into dou by dou D of H square minus del dot E cross H minus epsilon by 2 into dou by dou D of E square. Dou by dou D of E square. From we know that divergence theorem. A divergence theorem will convert the surface integral to volume integral. Surface integral to volume integral. So in above equation we have volume integral. So in place of volume integral, using the divergence theorem, so here I am writing using the divergence theorem, surface integral E cross H equal to E cross H into ds is equal to surface integral E cross H into ds is equal to volume integral del dot E cross H dV. Therefore, in place of surface integral E cross H into ds, in place of volume integral del dot E cross H into dV, so here I am substituting surface integral E cross H into ds. Therefore, the equation becomes volume integral E dot J into dV, which is equal to minus dou by dou d of volume integral mu by 2 into h square plus epsilon by 2 into E square into dV minus surface integral E cross H ds. So the term on the left hand side represents the instantaneous power. So here the volume integral E dot J into dV represents the instantaneous power dissipated in the volume V. So here a conductor of cross sectional area A carrying a current I and having a voltage drop E per unit length will have the power loss of E into I watts per unit length. So here the power dissipated per unit volume can be calculated as, so it is EI by unit volume is, unit area is A. Therefore it is E into I by A, where the current per unit area is the current density, it is J. E dot J watts per unit volume. So here the total power dissipated in a volume V would be, it is volume integral E dot J into dV. It is on the left hand side of the equation. So here consider the first term on the right hand side of the equation. So here right hand side of the equation we have minus dou by dou d of volume integral mu by 2 into h square plus epsilon by 2 into E square is there. So here in electrostatic field, here the quantity epsilon by 2 into E square could be considered to represent the energy density or stored electric field energy per unit volume. Similarly, mu by 2 into h square represents the stored energy density of the magnetic field. And here the negative time derivative of this quantity then represents the rate at which the stored energy in the volume is decreasing. The first term on the right hand side will represent the negative time derivative of this quantity, then represents the rate at which the stored energy in the volume is decreasing. Here the stored energy is a combination of both electric and magnetic fields. So now the rate of energy dissipation in the volume V must be equal to the rate at which the stored energy in V is decreasing plus the rate at which the energy is entering the volume V from the outside. So here the volume, the energy entering from the outside is, it can be represented by using the term minus surface integral E cross H into ds. So here without the negative sign, the expression can be, it is surface integral E cross H into ds. E cross H into ds. So here the integral part of E cross H over any closed surface gives the rate of energy flow through that surface. Therefore, the vector P is equal to E cross H. The vector P is equal to E cross H has the dimensions of watts per square meter. Now the vector product P is equal to E cross H at any point is a measure of the rate of energy flow per unit area at that point. Now the total energy due to both electric and magnetic fields can be expressed as, it is half into epsilon E square plus mu into h square. For a wave moving with a velocity v naught, the rate of flow of energy per unit volume can be, per unit area can be expressed as P is equal to the energy into velocity. So P is equal to EV. Therefore, the power P is equal to E into V. Therefore, which is P is equal to half into epsilon E square plus mu h square into V naught. Mu h square into V naught. So, for a plane wave, the magnitudes of E and H are related by E by H is equal to root of mu by epsilon. Therefore, here E can be expressed as E is equal to H into root of mu by epsilon, or H can be expressed as H is equal to E into root of epsilon by mu. Epsilon by mu. Now, if you substitute E and H values in the previous equation, so it is P is equal to half into epsilon E square plus mu H square into V naught. Therefore, it is half into, it is epsilon E square. Epsilon E square. So, in place of E square is nothing but E into E. In place of 1E, here I am substituting H into root of mu by epsilon. Plus, similarly, it is mu into, so mu H square. Mu H square in place of H. So, here I am substituting root of epsilon by mu into E into V naught is there, into V naught is there. So here if you rearrange the equation, it is E into H, EH into, so it is root of epsilon into mu, plus here also EH into root of mu into epsilon into V naught is there. So here if we take common of root epsilon, mu epsilon, therefore it is root mu epsilon by 2 into root mu epsilon by 2 into, so here it is EH is there. If you take 2, because there are 2, so here we can take a common of not mu epsilon EH. So here we can take a common of EH. If we take common of EH in the two equations, EH by 2 into, it is root 2 into root mu epsilon into V naught. So 2 cancel each other. So here we have the V naught, velocity V naught equal to 1 by root mu epsilon. Therefore, in place of root mu epsilon, we can write 1 by V naught. Therefore, EH into V naught by V naught get cancel each other. Therefore, finally we can express the power as P is equal to E cross H, which is nothing but the pointing theorem. According to pointing theorem, the power in a plane area is equal to P is equal to E cross H. So here we'll find the power loss in a plane conductor. So an evaluation of the normal component of pointing vector at the surface of the conductor will have the power flow per unit area through the surface, and hence the power loss in the conductor. So let there be a tangential component of the magnetic field H tan at the surface of the metallic conductor. So across the boundary surface, the tangential component of H just inside the conductor will have the same value H tangential component. So here inside the conductor we have electric field E tan. The tangential component of E is related to magnetic field as we have the relation E by H is equal to intrinsic impedance eta, or E tangential component by H tangential component, which is equal to eta magnetic field, eta for magnetic field, or the efficiency eta is equal to, we can express the efficiency as root of j omega mu by sigma m plus j omega mu. So here if you take a common of sigma in the denominator part, it is root of j omega mu m by, so here if you take a common of sigma m into 1 plus j into omega epsilon m by sigma m. So here for a good conductor, so here the ratio sigma by omega m, so sigma by omega epsilon. For a good conductor, the ratio sigma by omega epsilon is very greater than 1. For a good conductor, the ratio sigma by omega epsilon is very greater than 1. If sigma by omega epsilon is very greater than 1, then the ratio omega epsilon by sigma is very less than 1. When it is very less than 1, we can ignore this part. Therefore, we have j omega mu by sigma m, which is equal to root of omega mu by sigma m, omega mu m by sigma m, with j can be represented as angle 45 degrees. Omega mu by sigma with angle 45 degrees. So here the average power flow per unit area normal to the surface will be P. Normal is equal to this half into real part of E tan cross H conjugate tangential component. So here E tan and H tan are the tangential components of electric and magnetic fields, which are at 45 degrees to each other. Therefore, the power can be expressed as the power P is equal to half into, so if you consider the real parts, then it is half into magnitude of magnitude of E tan and magnitude of H tan into cos 45 degrees, because these two are 45 degrees to each other. Therefore, cos 45 means 1 by root 2. Therefore, 1 by 2 root 2 into, so in place of here it is, we know that E tan by H tan is equal to eta. E tan by H tan is equal to eta. So in place of E tan, we can write eta into H tan. Then the equation becomes 1 by 2 root 2 into mod eta into mod H tan square. Or so in opposite also we can write H tan is equal to E tan by eta. Therefore, the equation becomes Pn is equal to the power, the normalized power is equal to 1 by 2 root 2 into tangential component, magnitude of tangential component of electric field square by eta m, where eta m is the efficient intrinsic impedance. So for a conductor, which has the thickness very much greater than the skin depth delta, then the surface impedance Zs is equal to the intrinsic impedance eta of the conductor. Therefore, here we can express that power as P is equal to 1 by 2 root 2 into, in place of E tan, here I am writing directly Zs into, in place of intrinsic impedance, here I am writing Zs into H tan square, which is equal to 1 by 2 root 2 into E tan square by Zs. So in the conductor, the linear current density Js is equal in magnitude to the tangential magnetic field strength at that surface. Therefore, we can express it as, so Js is equal to E tan. We can express Js is equal to E tan. Therefore, Js is equal to E tan. Therefore, the equation can be modified as the power, normalized power equal to 1 by 2 root 2 into mod Zs into mod Js square watts per square meter. So this is a power loss in a plane conductor. So in the above expression, E tan, H tan and Js are peak values. Therefore, it can be expressed as, so normalized power equal to 1 by 2 root 2 into Et effective square is because it is a peak values, Et effective square by mod Zs, or which is 1 by root 2 into Zs into Ht effective square, or Pn is equal to, according to the in place of E tan, we can write the Js. Therefore, the equation can be modified as Pn is equal to 1 by root 2 into mod Zs into Js effective square, or in terms of resistance, Pn is equal to, in place of impedance, here I am writing the resistance value. So Rs into Js square effective, or effective current density square watts per square meter. So this is about the power loss in a plane conductor. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.